For the home side, Jay Sadler, their manager, Portsmouth manager, really frustrated that his team have been throwing away games in the latter third. He says they've been playing really well for 60 minutes of most of their matches, but letting in a lot of late goals. They were 2-0 up in that South Coast derby before losing 5-2 to Southampton last time out. They need better this afternoon. Don't want to find themselves adrift at the bottom of WSL 2. Here's Ashley Veerden, the Crystal Palace number 11, lays it back to Jamie Lee Napier, once of Chelsea way back in the day, signed this summer for Crystal Palace from Bristol City. Jamie Lee Napier, Scotland international too, though not involved in this window. Barker back on the ball for Portsmouth, turns a full 360. Managed to lay it off to Nixon, back in the starting lineup this afternoon. Angelina Nixon, the Portsmouth number 18. Portsmouth, of course, had their first season in WSL 2 when it was still known as the Championship last season, which was also Crystal Palace's first in the top flight, so they didn't meet each other last time round. The Palace, unfortunately for them, straight back down to the second tier, having to try to build again. Jazz Bull, the Portsmouth captain, dispossessed. Napier, Palace won it back briefly. Veerden, Hassels and Harris against Greta Humphreys. Young former Chelsea player Greta Humphreys signed permanently for Portsmouth this summer after an initial loan spell. Alison Swaby, the Palace defender there, rolls it back to Shea Yanez, the goalkeeper. Swaby too among those international players who were away. She captained Jamaica in their 4-1 win over Trinidad and Tobago. Portsmouth, decent start for them, given their troubles this season. They've had most of the ball in these very early stages. They don't get a first corner there because it's gone behind for a Crystal Palace goal kick. Yanaz back between the sticks for Palace, having sat out the League Cup tie. Eve Annetts, on loan from Manchester City, got her chance for that one. Annetts, who's on the bench today, did have a loan spell at Portsmouth too last season. But Yanez, the Palace number 1. There's Jay Sadler right at the edge of his dugout. Well, they performed a minor miracle last season, didn't they, Jay Sadler and his players? They left it so late as March. They looked absolutely doomed for relegation, but they rallied in their last few games and got themselves above the safety line for a second season in what is now WSL 2. It's been another difficult start, just a 1-0 win over Sheffield United here, thanks to Meg Hornby's free kick. Bit of an unorthodox one, loops high and off the far post. That was on match day 3, which was also when Crystal Palace got their only win of the season, 2-1 away at Nottingham Forest. Napier, the ball through to Howard, their top scorer. She's got 3 goals to her name, and she's trying to get on the end of this one, but in fact it's closer to Veerden. Veerden's picked it up, former Dutch international. Loops a high hanging cross towards the far post. The volley comes in, but it's dropped back almost into the path of Blanchard, and she lays it off. Palace coming on strong here. Napier back out to Veerden, for whom this attack really gained its initial momentum. Napier lays it back to Swaby. Palace look to build again. Everett. Ball comes in low. Portsmouth get it away, only momentarily. It's gone out of play, and the officials say that it will be a Portsmouth throw. So a little bit of respite after some moments of pressure for the home side. Joe Potter swigging from the water bottle after a couple of very successful seasons up in Scotland with Rangers. Former England international Joe Potter, part of the England squad that finished third at the 2015 World Cup and also reached the semi-finals of Euro 2017. Very early days of her Palace tenure. Been plenty of positives, work to do as well for improvements. But they might just have a bright future ahead of them under Joe Potter. Vierden tries to lay it off to Blanchard, who didn't quite get there. Good defending by Portsmouth, and it's cleared long through the middle of the pitch. Hornby gives chase. It's laid back to Yanez. Van Havermaet, part of the Belgium team that lost out to the Republic of Ireland in that thrilling Nations League playoff in the international window. And Jazz Bull's just gone down here, the Portsmouth captain. She's got her head in her hands. I don't know if she was caught accidentally, perhaps in the face. Is she holding her jaw? Well, she was caught by Napier. She's okay. She's back on her feet. Jazz Bull. Just mentioning that playoff between Republic of Ireland and Belgium. Justin Van Havermaet, part of the Belgium team. Republic of Ireland won it 2-1 in Leuven, the second leg, 5-4 on aggregate, and it was Crystal Palace's Abby Larkin who got the winner. Which means the Republic of Ireland are promoted back to Nations League League A. They've guaranteed themselves at least a playoff spot when it comes to World Cup qualification for the 2027 World Cup in Brazil. Van Havermaet there in the centre of shot. The Palace player towers over most of her opponents. Very experienced Belgium international. Arriving here after 2 years at Everton, 2 years at Reading. Before that, so 4 years in the WSL, and now hoping to propel Crystal Palace back to that level. Bull will try and get on the end of this under pressure from Vierden, and she does get there, does Jazz Bull. Lays it back to Humphries. Humphries to Freeland in the centre circle, but she loses out. Freeland, who of course scored direct from a corner in that 5-2 defeat to Southampton last time out. Also set up Wilding's goal with a corner, did Freeland. Started so well that South Coast derby, but ended miserably for Portsmouth. We're winning games at the 60-minute mark, said Jay Sadler after that Southampton game. We're drawing games at the 70-minute mark, and then we're losing them in big fashion. Oh, it's nearly given away there. I said we're conceding really, really poor goals, poor mistakes, and players switching off in big moments. Really strong words from Jay Sadler after that South Coast derby defeat. And I hope to see a reaction from his players this afternoon. Cut out by Van Havermaet. All runs through, and it's a really good save by Yanez. Brilliant stop from the Crystal Palace keeper as Freeland ran through and got the shot away low. The sun glaring low into her eyes, but that did not deter her. First chance of the afternoon is Blanchard for Palace. Dinks it out to the right-hand flank. Palace looking for an immediate response to that Portsmouth chance. Swavey goes long. Vierden tries to get on the end of it, does get on the end of it. Gets the cross in low, and Gray clutches it out of the air. Decent height for the Portsmouth goalkeeper. Bearden's been getting a bit of joy on that left flank in these early stages. Can't afford to give her too much room. She was the Palace Player of the Season in the WSL last term. Her first season at the club. Howard did really well there. She was so strong. And it comes towards Blanchard. Still alive inside that Portsmouth area. Picked up by Larkin. Larkin gets the cross and it's into the side netting. Good little spell from the visitors. They started the season with a 1-0 defeat in the South London derby against Charlton, did Crystal Palace, but that does remain their only defeat in the league this season. Then came that stunning 4-4 home draw against Southampton. They led 2-1 and 4-3. They trailed 1-0 and 3-2 in that game. It ended all square 4-4. What an afternoon that was for anyone who got to see that game. If you didn't, watch the highlights on YouTube. One of the games of the season so far in WSL 2. Then came that only win so far, 2-1 at Nottingham Forest, and then 3 draws in a row, each to the North East clubs. Durham 1-1, Newcastle 2-2, and then Sunderland last time out in the league 1-1. At least for them, they have been picking up points, but they'll want to turn 1 into 3 this afternoon. Still all square as things stand, 12 minutes in. Portsmouth with the only real opportunity, that Freeland low shot, well saved by Yanaz a couple of minutes ago. Gray with the layoff to Humphreys. Howard Harris. And Gray gets it away to Cone. Larkin wins it back. Howard is hovering. Blanchard's joined the attack too. Freeland gets a foot in. Nixon turns. And Collins concedes the throw in. Taken very quickly. Blanchard across the goal. Bearden's trying to get there. Bearden lays it back to Napier. Napier with the through ball, which has got too much pace on it and trickles behind for the Portsmouth goal kick. You can see the earlier chance. And Shayan has pulled off the block, which has kept the scores at 0-0. Freedom with a lovely run through. Well saved by Yanaz. It was great footwork from Georgie Freeland. To create that chance for herself. It wasn't a bad shot either, really good save. Swaby lays it out to Napier. Given away this time by Swaby. Picked up by Rowbotham. Back to Rowbotham, who tries to head it into the path of a teammate, but Palace win it back. Napier crosses the halfway line. Van Havermaet. Napier's attempted through ball is cut out by Bull, picked up by Barker, given away though, but Barker wins it straight back. Tenacious in the tackle and sprays it long. Has Hornby stayed onside? She has. Hornby gets the shot away. Really good block by the Palace skipper, Amy Everett. That was a good move. Really well picked out pass by Howard. And Hornby brought it down really well. Got the shot away and it deflects behind. More positive signs for Portsmouth. A quarter of an hour now played. Freeland scored and half assisted from one against Southampton. In it comes low and it's almost into the path of Nixon. And Younes does really well to get there first. Just for a moment, I thought that had fallen perfectly for Angelina Nixon. Well, Palace looks a responding kind, and that's really good defending by Collins. Finds Robotham. She sprays it out to the left-hand flank. There's no teammate out there. So Palace comes straight back again. It's Blanchard. Everett to Swaby. Swaby virtually on the centre spot. Picks out Napier. Swaby again across to Everett. Palace have got bodies forward here. Across towards the near post, and Gray can't bring it under control. It's hacked away. Only as far as Napier. Napier gets a shot away. Oh, crashes off the crossbar. What an effort by Jamie Lee Napier. Rasping drive off the woodwork. So close to giving Palace the lead. Blanchard. Blanchard with a lovely through ball. Howard is lurking. Gray gathers that one though. That cross shot comfortable for the Portsmouth goalkeeper. She tries to send Hornby away straight away, but Swaby gets there first. Knocks it back to Younes. Kept in by Napier. Real end-to-end stuff over the last couple of minutes. Game coming to life. Everett. Pass was beyond Blanchard, but it finds Veerden. Veerden has Napier on the overlap. Napier's got a bit of space. Lays it off to Blanchard. Van Havermaet. All the way back to the halfway line where Swaby receives and sends it back to the Belgian. Carso. Blanchard, just couldn't get the ball threaded back through. Portsmouth now look to counter. Swaby holds off Hornby once more. That's developing into a really interesting tussle. Van Havermaet. Palace on the charge now with Larkin. Larkin goes for goal herself. Well, Veerden was diving in the middle of the 6-yard box. But Larkin went for goal. And in the end wasn't able to test Gray between the Portsmouth sticks. Remains goalless. If you were going to pick which team was going to score first, it'd be very hard to work that out right now, because they're both giving everything. This is the earlier opportunity where Gray got gloves to it just ahead of Howard. And Napier followed up with the drive against the bar. Nolan, another member of the Republic of Ireland squad for those playoff games against Belgium. And Crystal Palace number 15. Palace have so much pace when they are in the attack. Veerden in space again. Napier to her left. In it comes from Napier towards the far post. Portsmouth scramble it away. Hornby picks it up. Swaby dispossesses her, but at the expense of a throw into Portsmouth. Carto for Palace. And now it's Nolan. Back to Everett. Everett once more. Swaby. Out to Napier. Napier cuts inside. Blanchard. Oh, Blanchard with almost a perfect through ball to Kirsty Howard. Just a little bit too much weight on it. Similar move, in fact, with which Palace scored against Sunderland last time out. And that day was Blanchard to Watson, who's not involved this afternoon. She threaded an almost identical ball to that one through to Howard, who got on the end of it last time out and tucked it away. This time the through ball from Blanchard was hit just a little too hard, but so close. Oh, Virden couldn't bring that under control. The flag's up anyway. Offside. Wouldn't have counted had she made the opportunity count. Portsmouth have had so many injury problems this season. They've only got 7 on the bench this afternoon. It's more than they've had on many match days, in fact. It's a stoppage in play, an opportunity for drinks midway through this first half. Only a brief one. Lisa Ben signals for the match to resume. We've had 4 players out with ACLs: Lucy Johnson, Jazz Younger, Annie Hutchings, Emily Pittman, all at different stages of their recovery. Portsmouth Jess Gray, the goalkeeper, a summer signing from Charlton, but her goal kick goes straight into the path of Palace's Napier. She switches the play to Nolan. Nolan back to Everett. Van Havermaet to Swaby. Swaby back to Yanez. Hornby puts Yanez under a bit of pressure, but the Palace goalkeeper got there first. Nixon tumbles, but no foul, says the referee. Fair challenge. Van Havermaet. Everett. Swaby, former AC Milan player. Swaby, the club she was at before joining Palace in January. Relative newcomers to the women's game, of course. Milan, not the history of the men's club, but a huge name, of course, in football, and one that you imagine is going to become ever more involved in the women's game. Carso, lovely ball. Palace have 3 forward, and the shot's over the bar. Oh, what an opportunity, because Howard and Virden made positive runs into the right position. The shot was fired off target by Larkin. She has scored twice for Palace this season, as mentioned, had a great midweek with the Republic of Ireland, but really took the wrong decision there. And you've got 2 other players in a better position. You've really got to at least hit the target if you're going to take the shot on. Portsmouth get away with it. Swaby to Napier. Veerden inside to Van Havermans, given away by the Belgian. Hornby tries to get away from Swaby, but Swaby once more gets a really important foot in. Allows Yanez to come and clear. Nolan forward down the right-hand flank. Great turn this time by Larkin. Can she make amends for the earlier miss? It's into the path of Howard. Oh, and Gray was really brave. Just caught Howard unintentionally. She had to go for the ball, did the Portsmouth goalkeeper. But took the Palace striker too, and Howard is down in a bit of pain. Really brave goalkeeping. Jess Gray comes and just says sorry. I think Howard's going to be okay. Lovely ball from Larkin. Brave from both players. Howard had to go for it. Gray had to go for it. Gray got there vitally for Portsmouth. Throw-in taken quickly by Palace, and they've won themselves a corner. And I mentioned that Portsmouth scored from a corner against Southampton. They also conceded from a corner in the very same game. I don't know if that's ever happened, 2 corners scored by opposing teams in the same game. I remember Katie Zellum scoring 2 for Manchester United in one game. But that was quite something a couple of weeks back. Portsmouth need to defend this one much better. Doesn't look like Veerden's going to even attempt to go for it, and in fact it's one of the worst corners you will ever see, because she's just kicked it straight out of play. So Portsmouth goal kick, opportunity wasted against opponents that have been vulnerable from set pieces. And Jess Gray, moments after that really fine block. Now with the goal kick. Youth player at Chelsea was Jess Gray, and it was on to London City Lionesses, where she signed her first professional contract ahead of the 2022-23 season. Cone, former Everton player, with the header. Collins knocks it out of play for a Palace throw. Nolan with the throw. Low to Blanchard. Blanchard does well. Almost one aside another corner, but it's going to be a Portsmouth goal kick. She was with Charlton between November 2022 and this summer. Jess Gray, before heading to the south coast with Portsmouth. Everett's there ahead of Hornby. Now it's back with Yanez once more as we approach the half-hour mark. Swaby. Nolan's not able to get on the end of that. Hit far too hard for her, and it'll be a Portsmouth throw. Cone. There's Joe Potter, the Palace manager, took over this summer. Or Kirsty Howard, the Palace forward with her from Rangers, effectively. Howard played under Potter at Rangers and has started her Palace career really well, the Palace number 10. Free kick to Portsmouth. The foul, I think it was by Napier. And it was a very similar position as Angelina Nixon, the player who was fouled, gets back up onto her feet. Very similar position to this with which Meg Hornby did score against Sheffield United. Nixon really strong running, and in the end she's caught, and Napier hurts herself in the process. Fine surging run forward from Angelina Nixon, and wins her side a free kick in a dangerous position. Meg Hornby scored from, like I say, an almost identical position, looped it high and in off the far post against Sheffield United on match day 3. Early on in that game, proved to be the only goal of the game. 1-0, Portsmouth won it. They remain the only points that Portsmouth have collected all season. Freeland there too, contemplating the in-swinger. As I mentioned, she's scored direct from a corner. So both these players very dangerous from set-piece opportunities. It's a long way out. Hornby it is. Goes for a similar, loops it up. Oh, and it's lost by Yanez. Nixon with the chance to scramble home. Angelina Nixon, she won the free kick. And she's eventually the player to turn it over the line to give Portsmouth a priceless lead against Crystal Palace. Angelina Nixon with her second goal of the season. Portsmouth fans in delight.
Goal scorer for Hungary, number 18, Angelina Nixon.
They are all worth 1 point. Even if you scramble them home from a couple of yards out after the goalkeeper fails to collect. Hornby, so dangerous from those sort of situations. And with the low sun glaring into her eyes, Yanez couldn't hold on to it. Nixon reacted quickest. Look at the delight. Portsmouth just haven't been able to hold on to leads for most of this season, though, when they've gone ahead. Only time they did it was in that match against Sheffield United, when they took the lead from a very similar circumstance. Is that going to be a good omen for them this afternoon? They hope so. They very much hope so, because they are in desperate need of points. That free kick, not as effective as the last one, as it just trundles straight out of play for the Palace goal kick. Swaby back to Yanez. Everett tries to surge away from Nixon and just manages to feed it through to Cato. Cato's under pressure, goes back to Yanez. She manages to distribute it to Swaby. Napier, who gave away the free kick, which proved so costly in the end. Swaby, ball over the top. Veerden tries to tease it through to Howard, wins the free kick, tries to take it quickly. Referee has to tell Jazz Ball to move away. She did the professional thing and delayed it as long as she could, did the Portsmouth captain. Veerden. With the chance to put this into the danger zone. In fact, she leaves it for Larkin. And Gray can watch it go wide. Well, Portsmouth were 2-1 up briefly against Ipswich in a game they lost 3-2. They were 1-0 up against Nottingham Forest till the 57th minute mark in a game they lost 4-1. They were 2-0 up against Southampton briefly, admittedly, but they did remain 2-1 up until the 56th minute in that game, and they went on to lose that 5-2. And that is the point that Jay Sadler, their manager, was hammering home before this game. They've started well in games, they've led in games, but they've not managed to hold on and often they've ended up losing, sometimes by big scorelines. They have to change the narrative this afternoon. They've taken the lead again. They've played well. Palace have played well too. Came very close to going ahead when Napier smashed one against the bar. And Portsmouth have got to play well for a full 90, which they haven't managed to do, except for on that occasion of the 1-0 win over Sheffield United. They would take that scoreline this afternoon, certainly. And that's the scoreline as it is. Will it still be that way at 90 plus whatever Lisa Ben plays? A long, long way to go before we have to contemplate that. Palace have time on their side. Howard in the middle of the park. Loops one high. And Hornby's charging through, and Hornby will get there first and takes the shot on. But the flag went up in the end. And Yanez did what was necessary anyway. Time to run out of the goal mouth to perfection. Got her arms up high. Stopped Hornby's shot, but it wouldn't have mattered. Michael Butcher has the flag up on the near side, the assistant referee on this near side at Wesley Park. Yanez to Napier. Swaby. Cross to Everett. Larkin. Larkin turns away from Cone and feeds it through. Did really well and receives the 1-2. Is knocked over and wins the free kick, does Abby Larkin. Blanchard is going to take it, it would appear. Having a quick chat with Veerden. Low into the path of Blanchard. Comes back and is out of play for a Palace corner. Flicked off of Portsmouth boots. Swaby and Everett and Van Havermaet will crowd the 6-yard box. Veerden's got to do better with this one than the last. And this time she does think about just whipping it into that danger zone. Veerden high towards the near post, headed away by Bull. Almost dropped to Freeland, but Blanchard with the shot up and under and over. Behind and off the roof of the stands. We can look again at the goal, and Shea Yanez, the goalkeeper of such quality, will probably feel she could have done better. The conditions not easy at that end of the pitch. The low sun. Hornby knocks it high. And in the end, Yanez couldn't hold on to it. Cone got the vital touch back to Nixon, and she scrambled it home, her second goal of the season. But Shea Yanez will feel she should have held on to that high lofted free kick from Hornby. Cone's part in proceedings shouldn't be underestimated either. She did really well, did Hannah Cone, to get a vital touch on it, turn it into the path of Nixon. And Portsmouth got their noses in front, and that's how it's remained in the 7 minutes since. This half-time nears how Portsmouth would love to get themselves into the break with this slender lead at least intact. Napier with the throw-in. Being told to move back a good few yards. She's not happy with it. And now she's in the correct position. Given away to Barker. Napier gets the toe in and knocks it out of play for a Portsmouth throw. 5 minutes plus added time to play. Not been too many stoppages. There was a very brief drinks break. Humphreys. With the throw for Portsmouth, but Napier can just watch that one go behind for a Palace goal kick. Inez keen to get on with it. Time against her side now in this first half. Loose pass, which Robotham almost seized back for Portsmouth, but now it's Blanchard for Palace. Feeds it through to Veerden. Veerden back to Blanchard. Blanchard turns, gets the shot away, and it's into the back of the net. Flicked up and over Gray. And Crystal Palace get themselves back on level terms. Well, it wasn't into either of the corners, but I think just the deflection of a Portsmouth boot might have deceived Jess Gray. It just seemed to verve in the air, veer and verve beyond Gray, who looked so disappointed on her haunches. But they are, as I said earlier, doesn't matter how they go in, an element of fortune about both goals. Palace get themselves back on level terms with 4 minutes to go until half-time. Annabelle Blanchard's been weighing in with the assists this season, 3 of them in the league, but that's her first goal, Annabelle Blanchard. Palace delighted to get themselves level. Hornby trying to work herself some room, but couldn't quite do so. Cone for Portsmouth. It's over the top and it's going to roll out of play for a Palace goal kick. Tough moment for the Portsmouth fans. They've seen their team get themselves ahead again, but not being able to hold on to it once more. Inez should be really keen to swap ends for the Palace goalkeeper. Get herself out of that sunlight in the second half. Hornby not happy with the decision that it's a Palace free kick. Swaby knocks it back to Yanez. Palace on the charge again. Can they turn the game on its head before the break? Goes through to Veerden at the far post. Veerden does really well to loop it back into the danger area, but Gray clutches that one out of the air. Nixon back to Freeland. Freeland finds Hornby. Hornby turns and sends it through, but to no one really in particular, and it will just roll its way through to Yanez. Swaby turns it back to Yanez. Yanez out to Everett. Everett brings it forward for Palace. It's a free kick. Lovely footwork from Larkin to buy the free kick. Everett to Blanchard, the Palace goal scorer. Blanchard to Swaby. Swaby to Napier. Napier back to Van Havermaet. Two minutes of added time.
Fourth official has indicated a minimum of 2 minutes added time.
And it begins with a Palace throw-in. Vierden takes it. Drops back to Napier. Vierden once more. Napier. All the way back to Swaby on the halfway line. Everett. To Nolan. And it's a strong challenge by Cohn. It's a fair challenge. Well, the referee took her time to decide. But in fact, it's going to be the first yellow card of the match to Hannah Cohn for a foul on Abby Larkin. So Hannah Cohn late there, and it did look like certainly a yellow card. I think Lisa Ben was just taking a moment to make sure she'd assessed it fully, because it was a fairly late whistle. But then the free kick and the yellow card did come. And is there one last opportunity for Crystal Palace in this first half to take the lead for the first time this afternoon? They trailed for 10 minutes before Blanchard, who's about to take this free kick, levelled with a deflected drive. Blanchard sends in the high free kick. Gale catches it comfortably. Gray rather catches it comfortably and just ushers Nolan away. Cohn has just gone into the book. Pass to Collins. Collins wasn't able to bring it under control. Throw into Palace. Nolan takes. Drops to Larkin. Larkin back to Blanchard. Into added time. At the end of added time, Lisa Ben blows the whistle. Really entertaining, free-flowing first half. She'd love to get another this afternoon. One all as we begin the second half. Goals from Angelina Nixon and Annabelle Blanchard. Everett, the Crystal Palace captain, back to Yanez, who will be happy to be out of the low glaring sun that was in her eyes in the first half. Everett across the edge of her area. Yanez can only hit it into a Portsmouth body. Ray Boffin with the ambitious shot, which trundles wide. Former London City Lionesses goalkeeper Shay Yanez. With Bristol City 2 more recently. And now a Crystal Palace player. She signed last summer. Had that season in the WSL with Palace last term. And she was a regular #1, as she remains. Nolan over the top. And the offside flag is up against Carto. Michael Butcher, the assistant referee on this near side. No changes at the break. 6 outfield players on the bench for Portsmouth, along with the substitute goalkeeper Comforter Harbour. Emma Jones, Ella Rutherford, Stevie Kennedy, Chloe Sheffield, Jessie Gale, the on-loan young forward from Arsenal, is an interesting option. Jemima Dahu, just 20 years old, former Manchester City player. Dahu has started a few games this season. Crystal Palace with a depleted bench this afternoon. Just the 5 players. 4 outfield players: Isabella Sibley, defensive-minded Elise Hughes, who scored for Wales in the international break. Attacking option, as is India Paige Riley, who I mentioned has played all 3 games for New Zealand. She'll be pretty tired, you'd imagine, after that. The most recent of those games against the USA on Thursday in Missouri. 6-0 defeat it was for New Zealand against the Olympic champions. And Ruisha Littlejohn, midfielder, also played both of Republic of Ireland's matches. Jay Sadler may well be getting ready for a double substitution. You can see Jessie Gale there, the on-loan Arsenal youngster, with a pink bib still on. Jemima Dahu was next to her. Both, it appears, may not be far from being introduced. Howard will get on the end of this for Palace. Kirsty Howard drives towards the area. Still Howard pulls it back. And Gray gets the touch up and over and behind for a Crystal Palace corner. Kirsty Howard using all of her pace to get there. Kept it in, drove towards the goal. Ultimately wins her side a corner kick. Veerden with the corner to Blanchard, back to Veerden. Veerden loops it up towards the far side of the area. Collins gets there first for Portsmouth, but Larkin wins it back. And it's out of play for Portsmouth throw. On the Palace bench, they will be reacting to what they are aware is going on in the opposite dugout, where Portsmouth are getting ready, it appears, to bring on Jessie Gale, the young forward, and Jemima Dahu, midfielder. Pretty early on in this second half to make those changes. Crystal Palace free kick. Napier to take. Napier short to Blanchard, who's put under pressure by Freeland, but manages to find Cato. And her pass is cut out in the end. But Palace win it straight back with Nolan, who's got a bit of space here. Blanchard, the goal scorer. Nolan once more. Nolan with the cross in, and Gray does really well. She's been confident in her handling throughout most of the afternoon. Portsmouth with the chance to counter. Nixon, their goal scorer, drives through the middle. And the referee plays advantage. It comes in the end to Freeland. And there's a free kick in the end for the foul on Hornby. So Lisa Benn played advantage in the first instant, but then Hornby was fouled later in the move. And what a promising position this is for a free kick. Couple of yards outside the D, centre of goal. Freeland and Hornby, the danger duo once more. You feel like this might be slightly more Freeland territory. Indeed, it does look like for now Hornby has retreated. Well, she's still there. She still has a chance with an extended run-up, I suppose. Hornby takes it and it's over the bar. Well, I was expecting it was going to be Freeland. That may well have been the seeds that they wanted to sow in the minds of Yanez. In the end, it didn't matter. Harmlessly over, and Portsmouth do make their double switch as Jemima Dahu comes on for Sophie Barker, and Jessie Gale, the young on-loan Arsenal forward, replaces Greta Humphreys. Double switch for Jay Sadler. Jessie Gale, a player of so much talent, There she is, the Portsmouth number 33. 2 early changes in this second half. Still only 19 years old is Jessie Gale. Going to spend the season here on loan from Arsenal. She joined their academy at the age of 17 in January of last year. Larkin, Cone with the interception, and it's out for a Crystal Palace throw. Nolan has been much more involved in the second half as Hayley Nolan. Blanchard over the top towards Van Havermaet, but it's beyond her and out for a Portsmouth throw. Cone with the throw-in. Went into the book in first half injury time for a foul on Larkin. Gale with her first touch. Comes back towards Van Havermaet. Carto feeds it through to Veerden. Oh, and Gray did really well once more, but it looked for a moment like she may have hurt her knee, but she's okay. Clutches the ball. Had another decent game. Has Gray. She'll have been really upset with the goal. I think the deflection certainly didn't help, but it was right down the middle of the goal. She just started to move her weight in one direction. Here is Gale. Nixon. It's gone behind for a Palace goal kick. It's Gray who now has to contend with that low sunshine. Carso with a beautifully weighted ball for Veerden. But Gray did really well to get there. So alert. Larkin. Nolan, the Republic of Ireland teammate, over the top for Howard. Howard did really well to knock it beyond Collins, but Collins gets back there to shepherd it out of play. There'll be a Portsmouth. Well, it looked originally like a goal kick had been given. But Collins seemed to be disputing the decision. It is a goal kick. A free kick, in fact, to Portsmouth. Both players looked unhappy with the officials, but it has gone Portsmouth's way. Van Havermaet wins the header. That heads it straight out of play for a Portsmouth throw. Portsmouth kicks off this game, bottom of the table, as Howard tries to feed that through to Carto. But they are in a much better position than they were at this stage last season. They didn't get a point on the board until the 10th of November last time round. That was, of course, their first season at this level. The 1-1 draw with Sheffield United it was that got them their first points. And with 6 games of the season left, they only had 2 points. They looked absolutely doomed, and then came one of the greatest escapes of all time. They only lost 1 of their final 6, 3 wins, 2 draws, and they stayed up. Here's Nixon. Nixon still drives towards the area and unfortunately loses her footing. Did enough to scramble it back, and it dropped to Gray in the end. But Palace win it back, and they look to counter. Howard is in the most advanced position, and has she beaten the offside trap? Here is Kirsty Howard. Howard bearing down on goal, but the flag's gone up. But it was very, very tight, but she did look like she'd strayed marginally offside, and I think Michael Butcher made the right decision there. It was one of those close calls. As we near the hour mark. Gray with the long free kick forward. But Palace comes straight back at her. Larkin tries to tease it through once more. One aside a throw in. Larkin inside to Van Havermaet. Nolan keeps it in, plays it back to her captain, Everett, who knocks it across to Swaby. Swaby nears the halfway line. Howard with a lovely ball through. Comes back to Howard. Gray palms it back. It was a decent effort from Howard. Hit with some venom, but too close to the goalkeeper. He parried it away.
Substitution for conflict, leaving the field, number 18, Angelina Nixon.
And the goal scorer, Angelina Nixon, departs. So look at this effort just moments ago from Howard. Ella Rutherford on in her place, a player who once had a loan spell at Crystal Palace from Bristol City. So Ella Rutherford on for Angelina Nixon for the last half hour plus added time, as Portsmouth make their third change of the 5 permitted. This is the first time these teams have met in league action since the 2017-18 season. Hornby gets there for Portsmouth but knocks it straight out of play. Confirmation of that change, Angelina Nixon, the Portsmouth goal scorer, off for Ella Rutherford. Because of course Portsmouth's first season at WSL 2 level coincided with Palace's first season in the top flight last season, so they didn't play each other last time round. They were last in Tier 3 together in 2017-18, and Palace won 2-0 at home in October 2017 and 4-0 away in March of 2018. They were promoted at the end of that season. They only finished third. I say only, impressively third, but nowadays, of course, you need to win a division to get up at most levels. Veerden with the ball in. Oh, and it evades everyone all the way through. Portsmouth get away with one there. Veerden did really well driving down the left-hand flank, and Larkin was the player who got closest to getting a touch on it for Palace. Veerden got away from Bull, zipped it in low, and Larkin's so close at the far post. Hornby did well as well to make life difficult for her. Got her body in the way, Meg Hornby. So Palace corner looped up. Gray gets 2 hands to it. Freeland picks up the loose ball and hacks it clear. And referee Lisa Ben is just going to come and check on Jess Gray. He went down after, and she does look to be in quite a bit of pain, holding her back. Corner was a dangerous one, and Gray came through the crowd. And then dropped to the turf in some pain. So there's a stoppage as the Portsmouth goalkeeper is tended to. Another opportunity for a drinks break. Jay Sadler is saying his team have played well for the first hour of most matches, and then it has started to go downhill. This is the perfect opportunity for him to remind them of that and make sure it doesn't happen again this afternoon. Joe Potter trying to take the opportunity to put in a few words of tactical advice, as is her coaching staff. Try and make a few tweaks and tinkers on a day when they will have come here as favourites. Crystal Palace, they'll know it's a day when they've got to maximise their opportunities for 3 points. They're getting too used to drawing games. 3 on the spin as Gray just begins to sit up. It's a good sign. She's really had a very good start to the season between the sticks, has Jess Gray. Still only 24, but plays like a goalkeeper with vastly more experience. I was talking about how Crystal Palace and Portsmouth haven't met since the 2017-18 season in the league. And Palace went up at the end of that season. They got a licence in the newly restructured second tier, so they didn't win promotion solely through what they did on the pitch. They finished behind Charlton, who were champions, and C&K Basildon, who were runners-up that year. Portsmouth finished 6th, but it was Palace who got the licence to the newly restructured Tier 2, and they've been at that level ever since, bar the 1 year they had in the WSL. So Jess Gray now fully up on her feet as they continue to just check out. She's going to be okay to continue, and it appears she is. Vital touch she got to that Palace corner. I think as she fell to the turf, she may have caught a body or two as well before crashing to the ground. So play had to be stopped for 3 or 4 minutes. As we look at that Crystal Palace corner once more. She reached up and she smashed into 2 other players as she connected with the ball. But having been checked over by 2 medical staff, she's okay to continue. And we're back underway, 1-1. 25 minutes plus a fair bit of added time to play. Portsmouth led for 10 minutes in the first half. Angelina Nixon's tap in after Shay Yanez, who's on the ball here. The Palace goalkeeper was unable to hold on to a Hornby free kick. Dropped it into the path of Hannah Cohn, who pulled it back for Nixon. Nixon has since departed. And Palace levelled 10 minutes later, 3 minutes before the break, when Blanchard's deflected drive went in. They're on the charge again here, Palace. Vierden again, who's getting a lot of joy now down that left flank. The Dutch woman. Swaby's given away the free kick here. Some respite for Portsmouth. Travelling Palace fans in good voice, as they always are. One of the more vocal fan bases in the women's game, within the top 2 divisions, certainly. Cohn back to Gray. His pass goes straight to Nolan. Gray is able to get there before Larkin. Robotham brings it down, finds Gale. It's all been a lot more stop-start in the second half. The first half had a real free flow to it, end to end. Both goals in the first half too. Larkin trying to spark Palace into life. Nolan to Van Havermaet. Swaby. Napier to Nolan. Rolled under the feet of Nolan, but she almost kept it in. It's out of play and a throw into Portsmouth. Megan Hornby, who is Portsmouth's top scorer this season with 2 goals in the league, including that free kick which was the winner against Sheffield United. She had a vital part to play in their goal today as well. Crystal Palace make their first change of the afternoon. Abby Larkin has departed and India Paige Riley, the New Zealand international forward, on in her place. As I mentioned, she's had a very busy week. 3 friendlies for New Zealand, 2 against Mexico, 1 against USA as recently as Thursday in the series. But India Paige Riley on for this final 22 minutes plus added time. Abby Larkin off. Out of play, Palace throw. All the way across the goal mouth. Yanez just lets it go. India Paige Riley, still only 23. Player who's just come on for Palace, the number 20. Born in New Zealand, for whom she plays, but raised in Australia. And here she is on the ball. Can she make an immediate impact? Low ball in. Doesn't quite manage to win her side a corner, but it will be a free kick. Nolan with the throw. Howard turns a full 360, lays it back to Van Havermaet. Tries to find Riley, but couldn't. Signed for Crystal Palace, did Riley last summer ahead of the WSL season. Having been with PSV. Portsmouth throw into the final 20. Robotham. Ball was unable to bring it under control, so it's out for a Palace throw. As I mentioned, it has been in the final stages of games where Portsmouth have somewhat capitulated on several occasions this season. They were 1-1 with Nottingham Forest back at the start of October until the 77th minute. They went on to lose that 4-1. They just can't afford another day like that. Collins gives away a free kick. Nolan stands over it. Lisa Ben just marks out where the nearest player will need to be. Collins with the foul on Howard. Blanchard, the goal scorer, to take it. Vierden comes across too. He's been a key player in this second half as Ashley Vierden. Credited with the assist, the layoff into the path of Blanchard in the first half. Palace free kick. In it comes, loops up towards the far post where Swaby is able to keep it in play. Bull puts her under pressure, but Swaby holds onto it momentarily. Bull tucks it out of play for a Palace throw. Napier takes it long. Wilding wins the header. Bull is pushed by Cato and wins the free kick. Feels almost like Portsmouth are happy to take the sting out of the game. Newcastle back in the starting lineup this afternoon. Swedish player who also joined at the start of last season. Got a strapping on her right leg. Evades Nolan. Rutherford almost managed to seize the initiative, but it's back in Palace hands with Blanchard. Blanchard over the top. Collins gets there and knocks it back to Gray. Howard was brave to charge down the keeper and rather caught the ball, the full force of the ball as Gray cleared it. Whether she caught that in the face or was winded, I mean, it looks like she's holding her face. That was a real blow because Gray trying to get the clearance away unintentionally, but hit it very, very hard straight into Howard. And that would have been a painful one. I think it did go up into her face, and that's a really, really painful one to take. And she needs to be checked over fully for concussion. So there will be another stoppage. Crystal Palace players head in to talk to Joe Potter in the centre of frame. Their last 3 games have finished the way this one is at the moment, as a draw. 2 of them 1-1, one of them 2-2. 1-1 draw with Durham at the end of September. They had been 1-0 down in that game. Then it was 2-2 at home to Newcastle. Really disappointing afternoon because they were 2-0 up until the 87th minute in that game. Newcastle eventually got their equaliser 8 minutes into added time. And then their last league match, they were 1-0 down against Sunderland early on, and they equalised early on with Howards giving the equaliser in the 12th minute. It finished 1-1. They also had that 4-4 draw right back at the start of the season with Southampton on match day 2. So they want to put this run of draws to an end, do Crystal Palace, and get a maximum on the board this afternoon, which is something Portsmouth would dearly love to do as well. There has been a real stop-start second half.
Attendance is 802. Thank you for your fantastic support this afternoon.
Attendance of 802 read out at the by the PA announcer this afternoon. Decent crowd figures in WSL 2. They've certainly been entertained, and they might just get to see Portsmouth's second win of the season. There's still time for either team to grab a winner here. Kirsty Howard is looking much better than she was a couple of minutes ago when she took the full force of that Jess Gray clearance in her face. Really painful one. She's yeah, she seems to be feeling the inside of her mouth, the tongue, or the lips almost. It must have been very, very painful. Seemed like the ball was coming up, so hit her in the bottom of the head, the jaw or the mouth. Really, some real pace, some real venom, but she is at least up and walking and getting ready, it would appear, to be able to resume. Throw in to be taken by Cone. Long ball over the top, trying to pick out Gale. Dahu to Freeland. Freeland out wide to Hornby. Hornby tries to muscle her way through, but Palace clear it. Collins' ball is wayward and drops to Nolan. Carter was fouled by Dahoud. Free kick to Palace, who want to take it quickly. And Havermat knocks it out to the left-hand flank where Veerden picks it up, but gives it away. Swaby. All the way back to Younes. Rutherford puts Younes under a bit of pressure, but the Palace keeper keeps it cool and finds Van Havermat, knocks it back to Everett. Thought about going short to Nolan, goes over the top and Cone cuts it out. Drops to Freeland. Now with Gale. Gale loses out. Napier. Short ball to Van Havermat, back to Swaby. Swaby sends it long. It's given away. Robotham back to Collins and Wilding all the way back to Gray. Swaby sends it back to Younes. Gray can't bring that under control, and it's gets away from her and out of play for a Crystal Palace throw. Napier. Summer arrival at Crystal Palace from Bristol City. It's a high up and under, and Nolan will head it back to Younes. Younes sends it down the centre of the park. Howard loses out ultimately. Dahoud. Looped out to the right. Palace win it back and charge down their left-hand flank. Blanchard momentarily took it beyond Dahoud, but Portsmouth win it back. Everett to Swaby. Wilding. Back to Collins. Collins under pressure from Howard. Has to turn and feed it back to Gray. Gray was a bit risky with the distribution, has given it away to Van Havermat. Palace come again. Can they get the shot away? Riley wins the corner. Good tackle by Hornby. It's India Page Riley. For a moment, looked like she had the goal in her sights, but forced out wide. Does manage to win the corner though. Well, the last one of these was really dangerous. Gray just managed to get to it and took a bit of clattering as she palmed the ball away. Had to receive 3 minutes of medical treatment. And it comes again from Veerden, and this time it's almost onto the top of the bar. Palace are claiming it's another corner that Gray got a touch. And that is what the referee, Lisa Ben, has given. It will be another Crystal Palace corner. They have come close now with 2 in a row. Is it going to be third time lucky? Veerden hangs it up really high again. Gray just manages it, palm it away once more. Riley with the shot, blocked on the line, falls to Everett. Veerden hangs it high up into the air again. Blanchard picks it up, loops it back into the box. And Cone got there to head it behind. The Portsmouth are claiming that it's a goal kick. It did look like Cone got the last touchdown, and that's what Lisa Ben thinks. Palace piling on the pressure here. With a third corner in quick succession. Blanchard this time. Nolan came in to try and get her head to it. It's going to drop to Howard. Howard harries across but can't keep it in play, and just a moment of respite now for Portsmouth. If they can hold on here, they will take it as a real positive. We look again at the corner kick, which started those three in quick succession. Riley with the shot away. It was headed off the line. Ray's been increasingly busy in this second half. Portsmouth so far handling well what's been thrown at them. We haven't yet had the late collapse we have seen in recent weeks. It's what Jay Sadler, the Portsmouth manager, said beforehand was the priority, to work on that, to put in a full 90. No sloppy mistakes in the last half hour, he said. There he is, Jay Sadler. So far, his team have got the message today, because it has been a thoroughly professional performance. From minute 1 to 85, we're in the 85th minute. Still a lot of time to go though. There's going to be a fair bit of added time. It's Portsmouth in the ascendancy here though. Hornby. Still Hornby. Works room for the shot. Hornby with the shot, got under it. Toe pokes it over the bar. She did really well to work the room for the shot, but didn't execute the finish in the way that we know she can. She'll be disappointed with that, not to have worked Yanez, not to have hit the target. Just dinked it over the bar. She's been tireless throughout, as she always is, Meg Hornby, down that left-hand flank, left-hand channel of the attack. Nolan. Nolan once more into the final 5 plus added time. Nicely poised here for late drama. Is there going to be a late winner? Which way will it go? Collins gets there to knock it out of play. Nolan with the throw. Howard. Howard's attempted pass was intercepted. Swaby. Napier. Napier crosses the halfway line. Feeds it off to Vierden, who's done really well to beat Bull. But she was wayward in her pass. Swaby wins the header to Blanchard. Lovely footwork from Blanchard to hold on to it, and a decent pass too to Riley. Riley now taking on Hornby. He gets the cross in, the low cross in. Portsmouth clear. Rutherford. Rutherford just holds onto it ahead of Blanchard. She did really well there, did the Portsmouth substitute. But it's given away once more. Napier now for Palace. Lays it off to Vierden. Vierden's got a lot of space now on the left-hand side. Can she pick out her yellow shirt? In it comes low. Combe with the clearance. Dahu picks it up. Risky pass back by Dahu, and it's out of play for a needlessly conceded corner. Well, that might just be one of those careless mistakes that Jay Sadler was highlighting. Can Palace make Portsmouth pay?
Substitution for Crystal Palace leaving the field, number 5, King Cato, replaced by number 9.
Cato departs, and on comes Elise Hughes. Wales forward scored to give them the early lead against Poland in their second friendly of the international window. They go on to lose that game 5-2 to Wales, but Elise Hughes got her 4th international goal in the international break. Player who had that very lengthy ACL injury which kept her out for most of last season. Elise Hughes having fired the goals which got Palace promoted. In comes the corner. Gray just manages to palm it down once more. Real scramble now inside the Portsmouth box. Comes through to Nolan. She skewers it well over the bar. Hayley Nolan. They have been piling on the pressure from these corner kicks. Each time Gray gets something on it. And each time Palace are unable to make the loose ball count. This time Hayley Nolan up and under, well over the bar. 2 minutes plus added time to play. There will be a fair bit of added time. But that was a real opportunity for Hayley Nolan to snaffle what would probably have been a late winner. Confirmation of that change. Mikato, the Swedish midfielder, off for the more forward-thinking player, Elise Hughes. Here's Hornby. Is there going to be a late winner for Portsmouth? Hornby all the way through to the far side where Freeland picks it up. The Palace can work their way clear. Veerden looks to move beyond Dahu, and she does. She has the beating of Dahu. Oh, still Ashley Veerden. Oh, Blanchard got in her way. Oh, Ashley Veerden will be thinking, what were you doing there, charging into my channel, because I was on my way through towards the Portsmouth penalty area. Oh, and it could be an opportunity here. Right to the final death. And Portsmouth has stolen what might be a late winner. Jessie Gale on loan for Arsenal with her first goal for the club. Ella Rutherford playing a real part in the goal. Jessie Gale managed to stay on side. And in the final minute of the regulation 90, she might just have got Portsmouth their second win of the season. She took it so calmly, so coolly. Well, this was Rutherford taking the very quick free kick to send Gale clear. Well, that was really quick thinking. And what a finish from Jessie Gale. What a moment for her. The Arsenal youngster who's come here for valuable, vital minutes. On loan for the season, a key part of her development. We've become so used to seeing Portsmouth throw away games late on. But they might just have won one at the death on this occasion. 10 minutes of added time, those. They'll have been deflated seeing that from the joy of the late goal to know they've now got to try and cling on for another 10 minutes. Here's Nolan. Nolan can't keep it in, it's out of play for a Portsmouth throw. Ella Rutherford slowly climbs back to her feet as we have a stoppage during stoppage time. What a moment, what a day for Jessie Gale. A moment she'll never forget, certainly if it proves to be the winner. Lovely finish off the instep. Sometimes you can almost have too much time to think in a moment like that. But she honed in on goal and gave Yanez no chance. Nolan with the throw. Back to Everett. Swaby. Napier. To Veerden. There's a push on Napier. Free kick to Palace. Foul by Gale. He's going to be shown a yellow card. So 3 minutes after putting Portsmouth ahead, Jessie Gale goes into the book. Napier short to Blanchard. Blanchard pings it into the area. It's all the way through to Gray, who gets there ahead of Van Havermaet. and will be in no hurry to get up. Although, of course, now the goalkeepers do only have those 8 seconds to distribute the ball. Gale is caught by Napier. No foul, says the referee. Drops to Riley. Portsmouth win it back with Rebotham. Tries to slide it through to Gale. It'll go all the way through to Yanez. Swaby. Napier has got a bit of room to run into down the left-hand flank. Rebotham tries to get across. Napier short to Blanchard. Blanchard, lovely pass to Veerden. Veerden high up and into the path eventually of Nolan, of Hughes rather, but it is in the end easy for Gray. Almost halfway through the 5 of 10 added minutes. Jay Sadler so close now to a precious 3 points to end this losing run. Hornby is caught surely by Riley, and it will be a free kick in the sort of territory, and in fact there is a yellow card shown to Everett. Jo Potter, still time for her side. But close to being just 1 win from the opening 7 league matches. Hornby from the sort of territory she loves. High up and under once more, headed back across goal. And the whistle's gone for a clash of heads on the far side. Napier is pulled back to her feet, and the physios are being called on by Lisa Ben. It's Hannah Cohn and Jamie Lee Napier for a clash of heads, and Cohn's come off worse. Jay Sadler with another opportunity to hammer home that point to his players as he chats to Jesse Gale, who might just have scored the winner here this afternoon. No late slip-ups, he will be saying. Take it to the very final second. To the 90 plus 10th minute. There's going to be more than that too, of course, because there's some lengthy treatment going on here. While Portsmouth cannot wait for that final whistle, there's still a fair bit of time yet. So a difficult start to the season really for Jo Potter. Her first season as Crystal Palace manager. She has a word with her assistant. Hannah Cohn is back on her feet. So she may even have a bit of a shiner there. Bruised right eye. Well, seems like she's going to be allowed to continue, obviously having received treatments. She's going to have to leave the pitch momentarily. Nolan back to Everett. Well, it was Riley who was yellow carded for the earlier foul. Not Everett. India Page Riley with the yellow card. for Crystal Palace. Who's trying to get on the ball here is Riley, and she just manages to keep it in, but is only able to send it through to Gray. In fact, Gray is being told it went out of play and that it is a goal kick. Next up for Sunderland is Sunderland for Portsmouth. They've got to visit Sunderland next weekend, as Gray can't find Hornby there. Crystal Palace are at home to Sheffield United. They've got a really important win today at home to Durham in the earlier kickoff. Rutherford with the shot, well wide. Heather Rutherford, part of the Ipswich side that won promotion last season from Tier 3. And she's claiming that it got a touch off of Swaby. Lisa Benn not convinced. Inez being told to get the ball on that line or in the 6-yard area, that it was too far advanced. Takes it from the right place in the end, finds Veerden. Veerden tries to take on Bull. Ball gets the touch and knocks it out of play. Palace throw into the final of 10 added minutes. There's going to be 3 or 4 more, you'd imagine, for that treatment to Hannah Cohn after the head injury. Van Havermaet. Collins does really well for Portsmouth. Swaby picks it up for Palace, finds Blanchard. Blanchard to Everett. Everett to Riley. Riley with the fresh legs, the substitutes. But Hornby has managed to hold her off. It's a free kick just outside the box, and she's going to be yellow carded as Meg Hornby. Well, that was very close then to being a penalty. Referee deems it an unfair challenge. And with more than 100 minutes on the clock, the Crystal Palace going to steal 2 valuable points from Portsmouth, who are so close now to only their 2nd win of the season. Club that kicked off bottom of the table. We've still got a hold on here. Veerden with the free kick, it's onto the roof of the net. Huge sigh of relief for Portsmouth. Still work to do. It's such a promising position this was, and Ashley Veerden wasn't able to pick out a teammate, went for goal herself, lofted it onto the roof of the net. There will be some really weary limbs out there. Freedom with the header. Gale tries to get there first for Portsmouth. Nolan wins it for Palace. Everett across to Yanez. Yanez's distribution is cut out by Hornby. Palace throw. Nolan takes it to Everett. Plays it short to Nolan. Rutherford puts her under a bit of pressure. Nolan finds Blanchard. Across to Swaby. Played 12 minutes of added time. Cohn. Everett cuts it out and finds Veerden. Lovely footwork from Veerden, but she can't pick out Napier. Gale with a crucial touch. Dahu brings it forward for Portsmouth. She checks back under pressure from Veerden. And there goes the final whistle from Lisa Benn, and Portsmouth and Jay Sadler celebrate only their second win of the season. They kicked off bottom of WSL 2. They found themselves in the familiar position of going ahead.